Okay, in this video, lately I've been doing videos talking about things like breaking bad habits and the anxiety that these caused in the past or they're causing now but anxiety has been a problem for me. I'm 56 years old. It's been a problem for me since as far back as I can remember, childhood. And as many of us know, anxiety was born out of often some form of abuse, not always, not that I know of. And my degrees are in psychology and sociology, but this is not any kind of counseling or advice, any of that. Read the disclaimer. But yeah, I've been doing these videos about, my own anxiety and the things that I do myself. Now, that I put this kind of anxiety on myself. Okay, but of course, like I said, it was born out of something else. But at this point in my life, I'm not blaming the victim, me, I'm saying I'm facing it, I'm pointing it out, I'm putting a finger on it, but what am I doing to correct it, to change it, to heal myself, what am I doing? Seriously. And this one, and what I find myself doing is because I do YouTube videos, and I have for most of the past 5 years. Well, it's been over 5 years on my original channel. But I do videos, and not about just this one topic, by the way. But I will say it in a video, like more recent, like within, I'd say, the last year or so, that I need to change this or change that, and then I don't. Okay? And I've always kind of wondered, I'm doing a little stream of consciousness here, but I'm kind of wondering, because this is my form of journaling now, is it always a good thing to face it? But what about fixing it or healing it or changing it, you see? Okay, now that I've rushed through that, and yes, some people do say, you sure do talk fast for a Texan, and what I usually answer is, or at least I think it in my mind, is that's because people like you always interrupt me before I even say a couple of words, before I finish one sentence. And it is. Often when somebody says, I sure do talk fast for a Texan, that's the type that's going to, like I just said, interrupt me before I finish one sentence. So I'll go through a stream of, I call it stream of consciousness. I'll just go through a stream of things really fast because I'm so used to people interrupting me. Or they say I'm wrong before I even finish, and they say whatever they think. You know what I'm saying? They want to be the ones who are saying it. I mean, people will steal your ideas as you're speaking them. That kind of person. But okay, to get back to this about anxiety. Okay, this kind of anxiety this feeling I have, I was actually diagnosed with panic disorder, by the way, many years ago. I don't even remember how many years ago. And I have experienced agoraphobia. They call it these days agoraphobia. Back when I was 28 and again when I was 33, both times I was not able to leave my house, my home. I was in an apartment in both times, but because of the agoraphobia. So I have a history, as I've mentioned in all this video, with this. But one of the things I think was because that made it worsen was because of jobs, not a job, but jobs. Pardon the blinker. But it's not just one type of job. But usually these days, and it's been this way for I don't know how many years, any kind of job can turn into a production job. Like you have to produce this, that, and the other, and very quickly. Okay, and that's the problem, is the very quickly. And I do feel this anxiety around that bit of rushing myself, because I did those different kinds of jobs all these years that people made you, you have to rush, you have to hurry. Now, they weren't just doing it on me. You're telling me that was their rules. That's how it was. They would do anything from quotas to just standing over everybody and, like Lord and Master. And, you better hurry. You better do this. That's crazy. And the whole thing's of you have to be there exactly on time or they can, fire you if you're 1 minute late, twice in, 2 times. These crazy rules places put on people. Now, I live in a suburb of Dallas. People make a joke about it. You're never going to be there exactly at some time, and you would have to leave like 30 extra minutes, not just the minutes it takes you to get to work, but 30 extra to make sure that you're always there on time. And then you still can't guarantee it because Dallas is a huge place, millions of people. But you can bet that they put these these things on you about time, so much of it about time, to hurry and rush and hurry and rush and hurry, that I really feel that could lead to a person becoming rather neurotic. Seriously. To have that much pressure, that much stress, or at least stressed out maybe. I'm sure there are exceptions to every rule, or exceptions to everything. And some people would say, well, no, it doesn't. But year after year after year of having bosses like that, yeah. I cannot ever imagine that much stress, and it's a lot of stress, it's good for anybody over time. There's this, and these days, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Some people say, well, that's not what they're talking about. Are you sure? It's not in the DSM now, but it is in the ICD-11. And so I'm not diagnosed with it, but I do feel that I have it. But anyway, and it's just the repetitive abuse to me. And that, of course, that's not just all. That's just not just all. But the whole thing has led me, and one of the problems, just one of them, that I feel like why I experience anxiety is because of this rush, hurry, and just that pressure. And if you don't, there's such a big consequences. You will lose your job. And I've worked during times when people had extremely difficult times finding jobs. And it was just such a harsh consequence if you didn't rush and hurry. And it wasn't just really at jobs either. People, it became such a part of culture, really, that people expected everything. You go into a store, and I'm even guilty of this, and you see somebody in front of you, say somebody's using coupons, and it's taking forever. And don't you feel angry at them? Instead of angry at the business for seeing, they should be able to, the cashier should see this is going to be a problem. Let's call for another cashier, have another cashier come up, open up another aisle so then the people wouldn't have to wait. But yeah, we're used to blaming ourselves and each other instead of blaming the people who are the bosses. Okay, people who should be handling the situation and should not be rush and hurry everybody, or wasting people's time and making it to where people don't feel that way. To be considerate. But really, it's such a part of our culture, I really do, that we're trained to rush and hurry and expect everything to be rushed and hurried. Like if you get a cashier that's taking their time, really, or sitting there talking to somebody, not doing something, yeah, you get angry, and you should. And I say report it to the manager, but these people can be dangerous, but report it anonymously or whatever, and say, retrain them to where they're not wasting our time talking, chit chat and all that stuff when I'm not, with other people, when I'm not there for that. But it's still that rush and hurry. You see what I'm saying? Still. It becomes such a part of our mentality, our culture, that this is how we see it, that we should rush and hurry and everybody else should rush and hurry. And now, here it is. I'm 56. I've been a homemaker for I don't know how long. But, well, now I'd say I stopped working maybe 2.5 years ago, or maybe was a year and a half. Anyway, I don't work outside the home. And I cannot get myself to slow down. And like I said, I've made I made at least one video about this before, saying I really need to teach myself how to slow down. There is no boss. I don't have to rush and hurry. I'm not going to have harsh consequences if I don't get this done on time or that done on time. On what time? I'm not, it's me. It's not that I don't have a boss. But I was trained to rush and hurry. Like there's this person who's going to get this severe consequence if I don't. And it's difficult. Even making videos, I have a hard time slowing down what I'm saying. And I've known somebody, not somebody, I don't know them recently, but somebody left a comment. It was on a different service, and they said that listening to me was so bad because I spoke too slow. And I was like, wow, in Texas they say I speak too fast. Yeah. It's going to have a critic, I think I replied to that person is, I can't wait to see yours. Or maybe I didn't, but at least I thought it. And yes, that would be meaning that person doesn't make videos, as far as I know. So, yeah, people find it easy to judge people when they're not having to do it. Kind of like bosses. How quickly can you do this job? They don't do it themselves. They don't know, but they're going to make sure that you do it as fast as possible. Of course, it's not every boss in this world, but the ones I'm talking about, that's what they did. And like I said, it wasn't just me. It was everybody who worked there. I worked at one place, and man, it was so bad because of this, that one woman, she was banging her head on the table. One guy was banging his fist on the wall. And this is at overtime and different times. And people were crying and stuff because the boss was such a taskmaster, just really like cracking a whip. And I shouldn't use that expression. That should be reserved for something else. But it was very much like slavery, okay? And they even had the nerve to do things like pass out books showing that 6 years before then they paid much more, and they didn't care. You're going to work harder now, and you're going to earn less money. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, the truth is now that I've been noticing this for about a week or so now, then my heart beats a little faster, and I know when it does. It doesn't like it had in the past when I was experiencing anxiety. And I've been through all these many years, and I know it's because I see it. I see what's happening when I'm doing it. It's that I'm rushing myself, okay? I'm talking, I can be at home by myself. I will walk really fast. I don't run, but I walk really fast just from one room to the other. And it's like I'm always putting myself in this hurry, rush and hurry. And I talk fast. Usually just, like I mentioned earlier, just to try to get as many points out as I could before somebody interrupts me. But I get that a lot. I'm serious. I cannot finish my first sentence. So they don't know if I'm going to sit there and go on and on. I'm talking strangers even. And before they interrupt me, because we live in this world, unfortunately, in my view, as a sociologist, that, everybody, not everybody, too many people think they know it all already. I like doing stream of consciousness, by the way, but when you start to say something to them, they already assume that they know what you're going to say, so they take it from there with their assumption and finish your thought, or tell you, like if you call customer service or something, over the phone, they assume that they know what you're going to say, so then they give you information that doesn't fit because their assumption was wrong. And this happens quite often. I remember when I first started noticing it happening, I'm like, what is this new trend here? People doing that. It wasn't just to me, as I'm saying. These are not things that are just happening to me. But what is this trend that people are going to interrupt you and then give you the wrong stuff because their assumptions are wrong? Happens more and more often. But a lot of these kinds of things, just the way the world's going, it affects you. And like I said, I try to get as many points out as I can before they interrupt because of their assumptions. And I have noticed myself saying this more and more recently. Like, I'm serious about I can't even finish the first sentence. Like you pick up the phone and you call to get some kind of assistance from customer service, and before you finish your first sentence, okay, they interrupt you with the assumption. And I'm telling you, I have learned to start saying, you need to listen. Let me finish. And very stern. And you can hear them get ticked off because they have like a script in their mind. They already assume what you're going to say, so then they have pulled out their script in their mind, and you dare to interrupt them. This has happened to me recently again, seriously. Blinker again. But I think many people experience this, so they know what I'm talking about. They've experienced it. The lack of customer service, and the first thing that happens whenever I say something like that, you know what it is that people will say, well, the customer's not always right. They've been trained to say that too. Put it back on the customer. Put the customer on defensive. Tell the customer they're wrong before they're even finished saying their first sentence. Seriously, this is bad. But anyway, how did I get off on that one? Stream of consciousness. Okay, but yeah, this of rushing myself. Last night, I even started trying, and I'm going to do this more, is to even slow down my walking. Okay, my walking and my talking, and to really just take my time, seriously. And no, I don't feel like it's an age thing, like I'm getting older, but at the same time, yeah, I am. I think at the same time I'm getting wiser too, to that not everything has to be rushed and hurried. Seriously, like I said, I was trained by all these jobs, rush and hurry, and you can be trained now by people driving, like this truck that was behind me. They want to rush and hurry, and they want you out of their way because you're on their road. No, we're not. Okay, no, it is not your road. It is everybody's road, not yours. But yes, I do see that as a way that people start training other people. When they're on the road and they practically run, tailgate them. They do tailgate them, and practically run run them off the road, something, because you're not hurrying enough. You're not driving 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. And no, there's a speed limit there for a reason. But there is some people say, I've said it myself, is that it's usually the people who are kind of narcissistic that think that rules don't apply to them. I actually have said that before I ever heard anybody else. I mean, I'm not saying that I coined it, I'm just saying I didn't need anybody else to say it, because I've seen this kind of stuff my whole life. Since I was a child, as far back as I can remember, I should say. That some people think rules don't apply to them, and that they've got to teach the world how to be, and how you have to be is not to be thinking that these rules don't apply. Really? Seriously. Well, I hope that car doesn't hit that other one. We're whipping out of there real fast. Now, I'm not going to go and tell them, then I would be telling them how to live. Couldn't resist saying that. Okay, I think there are other ways that people teach you how to rush. And like I said, it doesn't have to be your boss. People on the street, they're not your boss. It's like when you go into stores, at least here, where I live, I call it Narcissismville, it's definitely not a Pleasantville. It had a reputation, actually, when I first heard about the place, like 30 or so years ago. That's what I heard. That's why I heard about it, was because of the reputation, that people had a high sense of entitlement and, narcissistic, basically. But they said one suburb of Dallas, of North Dallas, but it isn't. It's more like an area north of Dallas that it is that way. And of course, it's not everybody, but you can feel it. Like, you go outside of it, and it's a world of difference. But yeah, people in that little bubble there, some people will act as though they own the road, worse than you see on outside. I know you see these things on the outside of this bubble, but this is like, it stands out. It's just flashing, standing out. That's bad, because it's much worse than outside the bubble. And I can't stress that enough. But yeah, one of the other ways is like going into a store, and they get, this happens to me every time I go into a store, at least once. they'll put their hand in front of my face. I just walk up to them, start looking at a product that I want to buy and seeing which one I want to get, and they'll put their hand in front of my face to get it because it's their store to them, and you're in their way. And they have that sense of entitlement that they are entitled to anything, that it doesn't matter. You're in their way. And that's how, another way, like I said, people teach you that you're just supposed to be accepting of that. No, I'm not accepting of that. And believe me, I vocalize that. Not like screaming or anything, but I will say, how rude. I'm telling you, I think I take out the stern educator in me comes out, you know, and I say more than that. I'm not going to be abusive. I'm just going to let them know. You know, I mean, we were all, I would think, taught, probably starting in grade school, or most of us maybe, you know, stand in line and wait your turn. No, not in Narcissismville. They don't do that. They do not. You know, I'm not saying everybody. Like, one size doesn't fit all in this. It's not everybody. But some of the mentality is, no, I'm not standing in line waiting my turn. I had to do that in school. I don't have to do that now. You move out of my way. I own this place. They don't. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up. I think I've said enough on this topic for now, because I want to go in there. I'm going to buy some folders, and then I'm going to do a video about another thing that causes me anxiety, and that's about what I was trained in childhood. It's about being frugal. Yeah. I've done videos on this on one other channel. I'm going to do more. Okay, wrapping this up.